Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Paisley if you don't know me, and thanks for subscribing if you haven't already. We're going to begin lying down for this practice. If you have some props like blankets, you could lie on those or just lie flat. And also I'd like to welcome Ember, who is our current foster dog. You'll be seeing her probably not for too long because she's already got an adopter lined up. So for now, you're just going to lie down and either close your eyes or just soften your eyes. On your exhale, relax your body as much as you can at this point in time. And allow your weight to rest on the ground. And let's just check in with the state of the mind. How is your mind today? Is it busy, tired, focused, scattered? And I'd like you to notice that if you can observe this, then there's one part of you that is the watcher, the seer, that is seeing these thoughts, this state. And if you can see, then that means you're just a step apart. You don't have to be stuck in those thoughts. So start to be aware of that gap, the gap between you, the seer, and whatever you're thinking and feeling. And then start to breathe just a little bit more deeply to bring that sense of space into the physical body. We'll take 3 more breaths here before we begin to move. As you finish this last breath, if your eyes are closed, just begin to blink them open and notice the room that you're in or wherever you are. And when you're ready, you're going to roll to either side. Pause just for a moment so it's a gentle transition, and then push with your hands and come up to all fours. If you have those blankets, you can just move them to the side. And when you get to your table position, just begin to move around in a free-form way. Where in your body do you need to create a little space, a little bit of room? And shift your hips back onto your heels and come into child pose. And just rest your head either on your hands or the ground. Come back to that state of watching, observing, and seeing the space, that gap of space between the seer and the seen. When you breathe in again, come on up to Vajrasana, just sitting on your heels. If that's uncomfortable, you can sit cross-legged or some other way. And you're going to tip your head over to the right. You're going to reach your right arm up and place it on the side of your head. And instead of thinking of just pulling down, like you're just pulling your head to the right, you are pulling down with your hand, but push your head into your hand. So your head is tipped, and head and hand are pressing into one another to create an engaged stretch. As you breathe in, you're going to release your head and reach up through your right arm. I'm not mirroring you if you're looking at the camera. You're going to lean to your left and come into a side bend. Think of it like a C shape in your spine. Kind of push your ribs over to the right Contract the left side body and make some space on the right side of your rib cage. Then inhale, upright, and take that right hand down to the ground off on the right side. We're gonna rise to a version of side plank, a supported version. So lift your hips with the right knee down. Again, I'm not mirroring you, but step your left foot out into side plank and reach skyward with the left arm. Now soften the brow and soften the eyes. That's often indicative of this getting hooked into thinking so much. And thinking is not bad. It's not like we want to stop being able to think. But just step back a little bit from the thoughts and see if you can see that space. When you're ready, you're going to just retract that left foot, put it back into Vajrasana. So if you were sitting cross-legged, you'll just find your way back to that position, and we'll pause, take a breath, and tip the head to the left and bring left hand up to side of the head. So yes, you're adding a little bit of weight with your left hand, but I want you also to push your head back toward the right into your hand. So this is an eccentric stretching. It's engaging the area that you're stretching while you're stretching it. So do that in a gentle way. Shouldn't be clenching your teeth or anything. When you inhale, you're going to release your head and reach up through the left arm. You're going to side bend to the right. This is the one where I'm asking you to think of it almost like you're creating the letter C with your spine. So it's round, not so much thinking just long. So contract the right side, open the left side, and just observe what you feel. And notice that if you can observe it, you are not just it, you are more than it. There's a space of separation there. So focus on that space. Inhale, come up. Left hand to the floor, off to left. Supported side plank. Hips come up, right foot steps out in line with left knee and left hand. Inhale and take the right arm to the sky. Try to roll the shoulders back slightly, unfurrow the brow, and expand the breath gently around the ribs and up into the chest. On the exhale, retract the right leg, sit back down. And from here, you're going to reach behind your back and interlace your fingers if possible. If not, you can just put your hands on your hips. Take a lift in the chest and then begin to lean forward and aim your forehead to the ground in front of your knees. You're going to lift your behind and you're going to put your forehead down on the ground. As you lift your buns, roll toward the top of the head and consider pushing the hands up toward the ceiling behind you. This is called hare pose or rabbit pose. Let's take a moment to press the skull down, to think of decompressing the neck, not letting it smush back into the shoulders. Smush, it's the technical term. Let's reverse how we got here, but curl the toes under so you're on your toe pads, not your toenails. Put your hands down next to your head for support. Push the floor down with your hands, lift your head up, and then sit back on or near your heels to stretch the soles of your feet. If this is easy for you, you can start to walk your weight all the way upright so that you're sitting on your heels with your weight up. If it's not working for your knees, you can lift your hips off your heels. Instead, maybe just lean some weight back. Come back to this mindfulness practice of just being present, watching if thoughts are coming and going, or watching what you feel, even in your physical body, like that stretch in your feet. We're going to shift into a forward fold from here. So use your hands, lift your knees, straighten the legs, and drop the heels. You can separate the feet about hip width apart for this first forward fold. Maybe even bend your knees, especially if you find that your low back is rounding up toward the sky. If you feel safe, you can hold your elbows. If that feels a little risky for you, just keep your hands on the ground or on blocks. Just very subtly, you're going to rock your weight forward and backward, so not so far that your heels or toes would come up, but just experimenting with moving your hips above your ankles. And see if you can locate the center point. When you get there, stay there. Pull gently down through your spine. Be curious about that sensation of stretching. What does it feel like? Is it achy? Is it tingly? Is it burning? Is there a vibration or pulsation? So when we label something, whether it's a feeling in the body or an emotion, immediately that gives us a chance to create a tiny gap of space to observe it, to not just be it, but to be aware with some room around the experience. If you're holding your elbows, drop your hands to the floor or to your blocks or shins, and on the inhale, push into that surface and unfurl your spine so that it's nice and long. You're going to move your chest away from your hips and away from the floor and gaze forward and hold here on the exhale in your Ardha Uttanasana or halfway lift position. Slightly point the tail down just enough that the low belly is supporting you. And then give a gentle bend to the knees, shift weight into the legs, bring hands to hips, roll the shoulders back with a flat back, stand up. On the exhale, just pause here, bring weight down into your feet. Let the blood pressure equalize so you don't feel like you're gonna fall. Now, if you're at the back of your mat or front of your mat, you're gonna step to the middle of your mat. And when you arrive at the middle of your mat, you're gonna stand on your right leg and you're gonna lift your left knee to the front. You're gonna try no hands, with hands on hips still, and you're just gonna pull the knee up using your hip flexors and your belly. Now see if you can do this in one movement. Bend the standing leg, the right leg, and reach back with the left foot and just tap the ground behind you. Just a moment of pause, getting some stability, and then returning to standing up with the left leg hovering knee toward chest. We're gonna do this 2 more times. So bend the right leg, you step back, tap the floor, maybe use it for balance for a moment, push into the right heel, stand back up and lift the left knee. Last one, split squat. Now this time, you're gonna come up and you're gonna turn your left leg out and come into tree pose. Put the sole of your left foot on your inner right leg and then open your arms to the side for balance, like a tightrope walker. Soften the gaze so that you soften your mind. Just observing the wobbling that might be going on inside emotionally or just physically, but just watching without judgment. Now, as you exhale, you're going to step that left foot down next to the right, drop your hands, so stand in Tadasana. We're going to take a half sun salutation. So on the in-breath, sweep your arms overhead. You can look up if that feels good to you. And on the exhale, swan dive forward and touch the ground or your shins. Release the head and neck. Find that center point, hips over ankles. Inhale to a long spine. And exhale, fold back in. We'll reverse the swan dive, but you can bend your knees and come up with a flat back like you did before, especially if that feels a little hard for you. Reach overhead with the arms as you stand. And then snow angel the arms out and down. Okay, we're gonna do the second leg. So lift the right knee, no hands. Hands can be on the hips for now. Try not to lean back. You're gonna bend your standing leg And you're just gonna reach that right foot back and tap the floor with your big toe. Maybe put some weight in it for a moment, leaning the weight back for stability, and then pushing into the left foot, stand up, bring right knee towards chest. We're gonna do this twice more. Step, touch, right foot behind. Rock forward, knee up. Last one. Split squat, weight in the left heel, push into the left heel stand, drag that right knee upright. Now tree pose, open the knee to the right, put the foot on the inner left thigh. Arms go wide for balance. And then we find that inner balance, that emotional balance, where we let ourselves be able to feel, but from the perspective of this ocean of awareness. Not always just stuck under it or caught up in it. Feeling it, yes, but observing. So heart and mind are working together. When you exhale, step down, hands come down. On the in-breath, take the arms overhead again. Fold forward when you exhale, touch the ground, touch your shins, release the neck. Inhale, long spine. And this time when you exhale, you're just gonna walk into down dog. And then for a moment, once you've got your pose set up, I want you to close your eyes as long as you feel safe doing that. And check in again with the state of your mind. Is it any different? You're not looking to force it to be, but just how is it now? And who is the one who is watching and knowing this? We're going to take full side plank, lean forward to regular plank, pivot both heels to the right, weight in the right hand, lighter in the left hand. If you can, open it up. You're going to turn on the outer edge of your right foot, and the left foot can stack or repeat tree pose. Soften the eyes. You know, the worst case scenario is your butt dips to the floor or you step down with your front leg. One more breath. You can do this. You got this. Okay, regular plank pose. Exhale, down dog. Stay with that watcher. Watch the experience. Try not to judge yourself. Side plank on the left. Go to plank. Pivot your feet to the left. You're turning to the outer edge of the left foot. You can keep the feet staggered. You can stack the right one on top of the left. Or maybe tree pose, right arm to sky. It has wobbling in it, no doubt. I'm moving all over. See if you can ride those waves. Come back to facing the floor. Exhale, downward facing. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, lower to the ground. We'll take one back bend here, cobra, sphinx, or up dog, any version you want. And then lie on your belly and slow down your breath. Come up onto your forearms from here. And we're gonna take a thigh stretch. So if it's a challenge for you to reach your foot, you're welcome to just bend the knee and not hold the foot, or grab a belt or something to lasso your foot with. Let's start with the right knee. Bend it, sole the foot toward the ceiling. So you can stay here if you want, just a little lift in your belly, support the low back. Or maybe reach back with the right hand and grab the inner edge of your foot. You have a couple options from here. You can push your foot into your hand and kind of stay up in the pose. kind of opening the chest and pushing the foot back. Or you can begin to draw the foot down near your right butt cheek, which will emphasize the thigh stretch more. You could even pulse between the two. Let's stay here for like maybe 3 more breaths. And I just caught myself all up in that, oh my God, that's an intense stretch moment. And that's fine. Good, observe that. But then settle back into the state of the observer. Just notice how that feels different. Okay, let go of that leg. Start to switch out the hands. Bend the left leg. You can stay here if you want to. It's kind of strengthening the posterior chain there at the glute, hamstring. Or reach back and lasso or grab your foot. See if you can lift the pit of the belly below the navel by the pubic bone. And remember, you can push your foot into your hand, kind of stretch your whole left arm. Or you can pull your foot in, start to push it down towards your outer left butt cheek. And when that intensity level comes, this is excellent training for the emotional state of life. Like, yes, you're gonna notice, wow, I feel like angry or tight in the case of this leg. And I don't want you to stop feeling that. I just want you to be able to have this resource of noticing that if you can see and name what you're feeling, there's a little space that's going to give you room to breathe. Okay, let's release that side. And then just go ahead and flip yourself over to lie on your back. Well, I thought you guys were going to get to see Ember, but she's been lying in front of the door on the cold tile this whole time. If you're ever interested in any of these dogs or learning more about fostering, we foster for Marley's Mutts, which is here in Tehachapi where I live. Now that you've made your way onto your back, just take a generous breath. Let yourself expand with that inhale. And as you exhale, you're gonna pick up your knees. Hold your knees with your hands. And picking up your feet too, really. Just let the back round. You're going to release your feet, place them down about hip width apart, and we're going to do a brief bit of work in the abdominals, strengthening the belly. So you're going to reach up with your hands and you're just going to clasp one with the other. You're going to take a breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to lift your head and shoulders and aim your knuckles between your knees. We're going to go about halfway down, inhaling. Now we're going to aim outside the right knee. Exhale, come up. Inhales down, center this time. Exhale, hands toward the center of the knees. Inhale, halfway down, keeping the shoulders up. Twist left. Exhale, hands outside left knee. We're going to do this 3 more times. Center, right. Halfway down, center, halfway down, shoulder floating, left. 2 more. Center, exhale. Inhale, part way down. Right, ribs getting closer to hips. Halfway down, center. Left, like your right hand is to the outside of the left knee. Halfway down, center, last set here. Here we go. Come on, you can do this. I know you might be burning. Exhale to the right. Exhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, part way down. Last one right here. Center, hold. 3, hold. 2, hold. Release and lie back. Take a nice full breath in. If there's anything else you need to do for your body, this is a good time. Otherwise, stretch your feet out and we'll take a short Shavasana together. A cooling breath. And a conscious relaxation of body and mind. I know it's easy to skip Shavasana, but this is actually the most important pose. I know you've heard that before. This is where you get to integrate everything you've learned and let your body just rest in this newfound alignment. So stay with me here just a little bit longer. Relax the eyebrows away from one another. Soften the temples, around the ears, and all the way back into the base of the skull. And while you're resting here, one, what do you see behind your closed eyes or even in the room around you? Who is the one that's seeing? Two, what is the state of your mind at this point? Are you aware of the space, the luminous quality of openness? The simultaneous quality of presence. There's only one mind that is like yours. And lastly, can you name one or two feelings, emotions? And just remember that if you can name them, you are more than them. You're not stuck underneath them. That is not the only thing. So breathe that space bigger and start to reawaken your body. Stretching arms and legs. In your own time, you can bend up your knees and roll over to either side. Again, you want to pause. It's just easier on the nervous system and on the back to not just sit straight up. Push into the floor with your hands and rise to sit. Ember, do you want to come here? Come here. So thank you so much for being here today, for doing this practice. And I look forward to seeing you next time.